guys? You know what's up. This is Ace Boogie. We back with another episode of Fields of Growth. Again, this time I've got my 3 topics and we're just gonna get right into it, okay? So first up is PTSD, education, and healing divine. I'm gonna start with this one, healing divine, or divine healing, however you want to say it, because I feel like that is just what I've created this safe space for. So I didn't really give like a in-depth intro video of why I started doing this or what this place and what I'm doing, what I'm cultivating. So Fields of Growth, Fields is obviously my last name if you know me, but of growth, it's a safe space for people dedicated to really developing their spirit and growing their mental space. It's a journey. It's a seed sometimes that grows into a tree. Sometimes it grows into a flower. Sometimes it grows all different types of ways. But at the end of the day, I want this to be a safe space. I want this to be a space where we and you guys can grow with me and grow yourselves, and we just continue to expand these fields, okay? So in divine healing or healing divinely, it's really for me listening to that voice inside. So God, it would be for me, just going to, I don't like to say him because like I said before, I think it's a girl, woman, an entity. But I go to him and I literally ask, you know, is this for me? Is this gonna help me? Should I do this? Like sometimes when the day just gets away from me or gets kind of crazy, I have to remind myself that even the mistakes or even the things that are like annoying to me is either trying to protect me from something, teach me something, most of the time teach me patience, or just get me back grounded in myself, because I can get really fast and really get in my head and get really ahead of myself. But within the last, I would say 3 years now, I've really just been kind of focusing, because after 2017 for me, I just decided like I could never be back there. I could never allow myself to get there. And anybody that knows me before is like, how did I even get there, you know? So with divine healing, it's about self-care, you know, listening to what your body needs, listening to, I won't say necessarily others around you, but because you have to be careful with that, but taking that good insight, taking that good advice, you know. For me, like I said, I did a lot of reading, and as far as astrology, I felt like that helped me tap in a lot. Reiki, which is like a Japanese, I don't want to get it wrong, but it's like a Japanese energy exchange where you're just kind of, some people do with the sound bowls or the little chime things, sound healing as well, because if you do not think that, you know, the media and all that taps in on a frequency level, not just the words, not just what we're actually hearing, but the different waves and different frequency of those waves also can vibrate and change our moods and our energies in our bodies. So I like to listen to, I think it's a 432 hertz. I'll probably leave that in the description on this one. But those type of things allow you just to center, and your chakras. I think that might be one of the topics in here, but just those are just different ways to tap into the divine healing. We all know our health is another big part of that. I'm not vegan or vegetarian. I just am more health conscious about what I eat, and trying to stay with the most fresh things and stay away from pharmaceuticals and scientific stuff like that. I'm not really big on that, so I'm more of like a natural herb when it's like getting the cold, when it comes to any of that, like was the honey, the lime juice, the garlic, the oil of oregano, turmeric, all that, elderberry, all that. So yeah, what is sick? But those are just different things to tap into the divine healing or healing divinely, because God put all those things here for us on earth to have. We don't, like, this world is crazy, corrupt. But if we just tap into what God has given us and what we don't even have to necessarily go out and spend our money for. I mean, a lot of people do offer services as far as Reiki and sound healing and all those things. But if you took the time to do the research yourself, you could be doing that as well, and you could do that for yourself. So those were just things that I decided to do. Yeah, this one I feel like I could go on more, but I want to get to the other two. So PTSD. A lot of people hear that and think only if you've been to war, or if you've been through like a rape or some type of really traumatic experience, that you only suffer from PTSD. Well, I'm here to tell you that I have workplace PTSD, I have relationship PTSD, I have childhood PTSD, parental, and didn't really know that until, again, doing that divine healing and learning for myself that you don't gotta go to war. Like, we go through wars every day, battles every day, and those traumatic experiences shape us, make us, and change us. So workplace PTSD, like I said before, I was in the military, it was a black hole. And going out into the workplace after that, I felt like that was just always that feeling of that anxious feeling. Even in my next job, I was told like I would never be able to not be on this time schedule or just have a free, like, from the military. People in the military told me this, like, in corporate America, when you have a job, you're still going to be having to do this, you're still going to be controlled like this, it's not going to be. And I was just bogged down in that mindset. But when I'm here to tell you, God literally gave me a job to where I had a 2-hour window, like, kind of where when I could come in and know, like, I could either come in really, really early, or by like 8:39, I need to be making my way. So, and with a child, when I tell you, that is like the best thing, because you never know when, like, the mornings could go, it could be smooth, it could be up, it could be down. I was told that I wouldn't be able to work and do the same thing I was doing. I was told that it would just be like the military was the best thing I had, which, come on now. But that's what a lot of people, not even just the military, but that's what a lot of people tell other people, just to discourage them. Like, oh, well, this opportunity is going to be the best opportunity you're ever going to come across. Like, no. I serve an all-powerful God, okay? So, yeah, I literally went from the military and then went to a nonprofit, relaxed, loving, motivating, just better workplace environment. But I could not get rid of the anxiety for myself. Like, I always felt somebody was watching over my shoulder. I always felt like something was, like, I was gonna get in trouble for something, or like even when I did make a mistake, like I'm good at taking positive criticism or taking criticism in general, but just to hear it was like just because I felt like before, when you were criticized, it would always be 10,000 times worse than, like, you can get paperwork, you could just so many other things. It was the military. People will throw you under the bus just to make themselves look good. It's a paper game. It's a numbers, stripes, all that kind of game. So to get out of that mental space of like, okay, well, I got to be on the best of the best, or now I got this cloud, everybody's looking at me in this type of light. I just kind of took that with me, and it took me a while to realize it, until one day I was just driving in and it was snowing, and I believe like I was really running late. But when I got in, it was like I was stressing, I was doing all of that, could have gotten an accident, could have done anything, just being so anxious. And then when I got in, everybody was just like, we're glad you made it. Like, how was the drive in? Did you drive slow? Like, we're just glad that you're here, you know? And being able to work is late and just have my time. I mean, not to say that it wasn't a job that they wanted to know. They wanted to know, like, when I would be in, when I would be leaving, like what my patterns would be, for security purposes and just for work purposes as well. But there was never a time where I couldn't say, like, I'm gonna come in early, or I'm gonna stay late, or I'm gonna come in late and stay late. You know, just all those things. I need to leave a little bit early on this day, so I'm gonna come in earlier on these days. Like, it was just that flexibility that I had, and I, for a while, could not wrap my mind around it because of the environment that I was been in before. And I feel like that's also with the education system and the prison system, because literally the bells and all that it's crazy how similar the bells and the classes and the times and all that is parallel to basic training and parallel to the prison system. So yeah, just having those like ways of being in my mind was really stressful for me. But it even now, the life that I live, I am on nobody's time. I serve nobody but me and God and my daughter. Like, well, God, myself, and my daughter. But I still catch myself like rushing and being in this anxious time with space, and God constantly just has to like calm down. Like, I've taken you out of that. I've taken you out of that. You are past that. But that post-traumatic is still there. Even when we talk about, you know, Black History Month, us as Black people, a lot of us walk around with post-traumatic stress disorder to slavery. We think we can't share things. We're scared of what the white man's gonna say, or just how it's gonna be perceived. We're still some of y'all eating chitlins, still some of y'all just eating bad, still just that mentality of I've gotta go out here and get it, or can't share it with my brother, or I'm just against him, and I don't like. Those are all post-traumatic stress and disorders that we carry, and we pass on through our DNA, literally, because if we built that up so much inside of us, especially as women, we have no choice but to pass that on to our kids. So that's why I make it a point now that this mental journey and this health journey that I'm on, it's gonna be something that she's gonna be doing as well. My daughter is gonna have her platform, her place, her safe space where she can express the princess that she is. So we also have relationship PTSD. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, when you get your heart broken, or you feel like you just been in a situation, a really bad situation, it's kind of hard not to go into the next situation and with your guard up and always feeling like, ooh, oh, I seen you that before, or just categorize people and categorize situations, or just also just feel like, no, that's just not something I'm gonna even get involved in. Like, relationship what? Relationship who? I don't want to do that, because I don't even want to set myself up for those type of failures, or those type of heartbreaks. So yeah, and then childhood and just trauma and just regular old PTSD, man. Like, as a kid growing up, like, now this is gonna sound weird, but I hate folding clothes and washing clothes, because I feel like we just always had so much clothes to wash and fold, and it just gave me PTSD to this day. Like, I don't like doing it. It's something that I try to avoid, and buy more clothes to accommodate, or just be like, you know what, as long as I have some sweats clean and some underwear clean, I'm just gonna continue to just drag this one out because I just don't want to do it. But yeah, PTSD just comes in all forms and shapes, and it doesn't have to just be when you go to war. It doesn't just have to be if you've been raped or held at gunpoint or just something crazy, car accident. Even though those are also clear other ways besides war. Just when you ever go through a traumatic experience. But I don't think workplace and relationship PTSD are really talked about. Or even childhood PTSDs, like things that we really grew up like not liking or having to deal with, and then in our adult lives either try to avoid at all costs or just automatically respond in a negative way. Like for example, my family, we yelled. Like, it wasn't even like one of those things that we did and we thought about it. Like, we're literally 4 Aries in one house. So it was always a raised level of talking, like / yelling all the time, yelling to get somebody's name, attention, upstairs, downstairs, at each other, talking, laughing, good time, bad time. We're yelling. Like, it's loud, okay? And it didn't take me to like getting older and people being like, oh, you're loud, or why are you yelling? And I'm like, I'm not. My bad. Or like didn't realize it. And my daughter, like, she would let you know that you are yelling really fast. Like, she doesn't like it, and has definitely called us out on it. So just those things that we don't sometimes think to call PTSD or register as a PTSD, because it's just like a character trait or something that we carry with us. But those are really traumas and experiences that have met us and changed us and shaped us that we need to combat, not just accept. And so that's what makes it a difference, or combat in a way where, like, if you're PTSD, when you come back from war, you need to go to the therapies or the triggers and all of those things. I've never been, so I really can't speak on that, but just on the things that I've seen in research, how you have to come back and adapt in a different way because you're still so shocked. It's an environment shock, and it's hard to get your mind out of a place that your body is now out of. So that is just another thing, like I said, with workplace relationships, like your mind still feels like it's there even though your body is not. So that's just that. And education, just to get into that a little bit, I think it's important, but it's just another thing that's very warped in our system. I've always hated history class. I've always been smart. I've always had good grades when it came to math and science. Like, math and science, I was always interested in. I always made good grades in that, because until trigonometry and chemistry, like those two kind of gave me a little woo, okay. Remembering all the elements and trig just really makes no sense to me. But other than that, like, it was real, it was tangible. Math doesn't change no matter language you take it across. So it was just one of those things that made sense. History, English, and those never really stuck with me. Those never really like resonated with me, and I never really understood. But they don't teach, AA. Well, they didn't teach AABE back when I was in school, or talk about it. It wasn't a thing. African American Vernacular English. So it just was like, I felt in history too. I felt like I was trying to learn and adapt to something that was not made or right for me or for me at all. As far as history goes, I literally remember this conversation. It was like 7th grade, because I always had male history teachers, and I remember one of our history teachers, I barely remember him. He just gave me bad vibes. But I remember one time he was basically trying to teach us something about history, and it was just like a no for me. I know this is like a lie or like, no. So I went home and I asked my mom, and I'm like, you know, why do we have to learn something? I'm asking her these questions. I'm like, okay, well, if that's not true, why do we have to learn something that could be a lie or false, or like, why are we wasting our time to learn this? And she literally verbatim told me, you just have to go in there and memorize what they say and be able to regurgitate it on paper. So it wasn't a test of like, or school really wasn't like to teach me at that point. It was like, how well can I remember some shit and regurgitate some shit? And that was like discouraging, like very discouraging, because you want to use your mind to its fullest capacity, not just to sit here and play memory all day. So for me, I didn't care if I failed history. I really didn't. But I tried not to fail, but I really just did the bare minimum as far as like things I needed to remember. In English, I love to talk, I love to communicate. I just hated the citing, I hated all that portion of it. So it was like a lazy / no for me. But when I did read it and I did put my mind into writing and into communicating for myself, I knew that there was a passion there, just not the way in which you're educated to do so. I also feel like education is just another way for the government to get their monies out of you and your Social Security number, because literally at 18 you're faced with the decision of putting yourself into debt for life, or saying no, like, I don't want to go do this. And at 18 I should not have went to college. Like, I was smart, I had passions, but my passion should have went elsewhere. But I do hold my HBCU Claflin college experience dear to my heart, because it opened my eyes to so many amazing Black people and so many friendships and so many, just my eyes to what Black people and Black community was, because it was like I always grew up around it and, you know, like could see it from the outside, but never could like hop in it for myself, because I was still a kid. I still had to stay, you know, linked to my mom in some way. So when I was in college, it was like, wow, a life-changing experience. But ultimately, it just put me in debt. It's the only debt that I have to this day, and it's the debt that I refuse to pay. I really owe like $10,000 to $12,000, because I was on scholarship as well. And then when I got into the military, they were supposed to pay it off, and the little $1,000 or $2,000 that was left under Sally Mae got paid by the military. But then, you know, they quick to sell their debts off to the next person, and it was a whole different process. It was not easy, simple. So again, my life, my story, I let that slip through the cracks because I just truly did not care. Either you're gonna pay it, I'm not paying it, because I just felt like this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. You want this much money from me I went for a year and a half, like some summer school, and I literally have, I won't say bad credit, but every time my credit score just can't get past like a certain area, no matter how much I pay my bills. Like, I have a lot of things in my name, and I have paid plenty in my day, but no. But I see the trick of the enemy. So when it comes to like my daughter, I'm not gonna push her into college unless it's completely paid for and like, okay, you can go waste some money with this experience, because really it's just for you to go out there, get your feet wet in life and learn how to be an adult. But you're not gonna go into debt because of that. If you and me have to come up with a program and this is what you want to do, and we set out in that way, that's what we're just going to do. But just to throw out your kid and say you need to go to college and you need to get your loans and and they get out and in this world, and some people have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and it's like, well, damn, like, I don't want that hanging over my head. So I make these payments, but really, alternative ways. And I don't knock anybody that does go to college, okay? Like I said, education is definitely key. It's definitely important. But you should not go into debt because of it. If you cannot afford college, don't go. Plain and simple. I don't believe in paying back loans and being in this crazy debt because of loans. When you can either get a scholarship, or you can either self-teach or have a program. There are so many different ways, okay? So many different ways. And even this education piece, my mom, shout out to Kathy, I had a scholarship, yes, but it was only a partial scholarship for track. So literally all I remember was going and having to take the placement test to make sure, you know, like if I was going to be in this math class or that math class, this English class or that English class, starting off. And like the 100 or the 101 basically. And next thing I know, she's coming back like, well, now I got you this scholarship, this college grant, this, and this. And I'm like, you were gone for 2 hours. How did you do that? But that just was another lesson and teaching moment for me, that there's always another way. There's always things you don't know. And there's always people who are going to tell you no, but people who are also going to tell you the real, tell you the truth, and help you. And you have to be persistent. You have to be the one to go out there and do it. So I remember going back to those ladies' offices and just keeping those bonds, knowing like, oh, this is the person I need to talk to when I want some real information about which way to go. And same with the military. I know this is the person, this is the man, this is the woman that would really tell me the truth, and not just scurry me off with a no or just whatever. And that's what I am trying to cultivate as well. Like, this platform is like, it's gonna be like my TED Talk, my Fishbowl, where I just get up here and talk. But eventually, hopefully it'll be more interactive, where I can answer questions. But at the same time, as I learn something, I want you guys to learn something. So it's just gonna be a fields of growth. We're all gonna grow around here. But I'm gonna try to keep these short. Again, we are just taking no days off. All right, I love you guys. It is a movement. Amen. Ashe. And I will see you guys later.